Tim from Tim and his Tacoma here, and I'm going through the raw footage that I shot on my trip to the Southwest, and I've learned of 3 things at least so far. 1, I'm not a very good videographer.
What are you barking at?
2, my off-the-cuff narration skills are probably just as bad as my videography, if not worse. Groundwater meets magma. Kaboom. A big kaboom, too. And 3, tires. Good tires are an essential ingredient to overlanding success. I learned that the hard way. Oh. Double flat. But the key word here is learning, and that's what this is all about. So watch the video, hope you enjoy it, and take a look. I don't really know how I first heard about the Barker Ranch, but a visit there has been on my bucket list for at least a decade. For those who don't know what the Barker Ranch is, it's where Charles Manson and his family hid out after the Tate murders, and where they were initially arrested for vandalism before being tied to the murders in LA. The ranch itself became a part of Death Valley in 1994 and remains accessible only by high-clearance 4-wheel drive vehicles. Or, if you're Charles Manson, you drive an old school bus there. But regardless of how I get there, this trip out west seemed like a good opportunity to cross this one off the list if the weather cooperated, and luckily it did. The long-range forecast for below-average temperatures across the desert Southwest came true, and I left Las Vegas for Death Valley on a relatively chilly morning in mid to late May. My route would take me over the hump to Pahrump, then on to Death Valley Junction and Furnace Creek before topping off the tanks at Stovepipe Wells for a whopping $4.58 a gallon. After that, I'd head south and make my way to Ballarat, a desert ghost town with a small trading post a few miles off the Trona Wild Rose Road. That trading post was the last vestige of civilization before the ranch, and was going to play a much bigger role in my journey than I ever could have imagined. It's hard to put Death Valley into words. It's a harsh, dangerous place that does not suffer fools lightly, but it also has a seductive allure that draws fools, like me, to it. It's as deadly as it is beautiful, and a man would be wise to keep his eyes open to both. This brings up the 4th lesson I've learned while making this video. Sometimes you just need to shut up and let the scenery do all the talking for you. While I tried to keep my stops to a minimum, it was still close to 4 o'clock by the time I got to Ballarat. That was a little later than I was hoping for, but it was all good. I'd make a quick stop at the ghost town and still have plenty of time to make it to the Barker Ranch before sunset. After that, I'd find a place to camp, cook up the steak that I bought earlier that day, make a few contacts on the radio before calling it a night. After a quick look around and a visit to the Ballarat trading post, I was back in the truck and about 400 yards out of town when I saw air pressure warning lights pop up on my dashboard. Not 1, but 2 lights on my dashboard. Somehow I'd managed to puncture both driver's side tires, and I only had 1 spare. My recovery gear included a tow strap, some traction boards, a 12-volt tire inflator, and a come-along, but I had no tire patch kit with me. welcome to my oh shit moment of the trip. I headed back to Ballarat to assess the situation. While I was doing okay as far as food, water, and communications gear went, I had no way of getting out of this without either outside help or supplies. Everything now rested on that little unmanned trading post in the California desert, and whether or not they happened to have a tire patch kit. Ballarat is an old mining town, where prospectors came to seek out their fortune from the gold buried in the surrounding mountains. And like those prospectors, I found my own little treasure in that small trading post, a Slime brand tire patch kit. Yeah, they wanted $15 for it, but I happily put a $20 bill in the jar labeled "Pay Here" and headed back to the truck. No, I'd never tried to patch a car or truck tire before, but I was certainly motivated to learn how now. After a quick read of the instructions and following them to a T, I got the back tire patched to a slow leak. I never did find the leak in the front tire, so I went ahead and I got the spare out. Of course, the harsh Iowa winter had seized the aluminum rims to the hubs, and I had one hell of a time getting that front tire off. Fortunately, the caretakers at Ballarat had a sledgehammer and a piece of 2x4, which we used to beat the darn thing senseless until it finally gave in. I was finally back on the road as the sun set over the Panamint Valley. The Barker Ranch would have to wait for another day, because it was time to limp my way back to Vegas and lick my wounds. A trip to the tire shop the next day confirmed what I already knew. As a friend of mine would say, baby needed new shoes. So unlike most tourists who come to Vegas and leave broke at the hands of the casinos, I ended up blowing all my money on a set of Wrangler ATs. While some would say it's not the most fun way to lose your money in Vegas, it put me in a much better position to explore the desert and for a lot more adventuring to come. Drax and I would like to thank everybody for watching our video. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button. And if you feel like watching more content, which should be rolling out here shortly in the next week or so, please hit the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you on the next video.